So, good evening. It was on before. What happened? So, good evening. So, I think you've all been here before, right? This isn't your first time. So, what we do here on Thursday nights is meditation. So, we'll start with some meditation on the breath. Well, I usually start with a body scan to go through the body and relax. Make sure we get rid of any tension there might be in the body. Try to be as relaxed as possible. And then we'll do just meditation on the breath, mindfulness meditation for a while. And then we have a second meditation in the second part of the class. And each week it's a different topic. So tonight it will be a meditation on equanimity. So I will explain it first, and then we'll do the meditation together. And then hopefully there'll still be some time at the end to talk about it and see if you have any questions. Okay, so let's start by checking our position, the way we sit, because the way we sit has an effect on our mind. So maybe when we meditate, it's our mind that meditates. But the way we hold our body, the way we sit, or whatever we do with our body does have an effect on our mind. So it's good to try to sit straight, but at the same time, not be tight or tense. So as I say, we'll go through the body and do a kind of body scan. And while doing this, if you notice if there's any tension anywhere in your body, then you can just do the best you can to relax, release, let go of the tension. So one way you can do that is just imagine that it turns into liquid and then it flows away, flows down and out of you, drains out of you, and you can imagine it sinking into the earth beneath us, or just going out of you, whatever way works best for you. Another way to let go of tension is to imagine that it goes out with our breathing. So when we exhale, breathing out, you can imagine the tension going out of you. So different ways work with different people. So you can just try different ways and see which way works best for you. And before we start, even with the body scan, let's see if we can generate a positive motivation for being here tonight. So in Buddhism, motivation is really important. There's always a reason why we do the things that we do. And it's good to try to have a positive motivation, a positive reason for doing things, especially when it comes to something like meditation, which is meant to help us to have a more positive, more beautiful, peaceful, happy state of mind. And it's meant to be beneficial, not just for ourselves, but also for others and for the world. It's good to try to make sure our motivation for doing meditation, learning meditation, practicing meditation is in accordance with that meaning. So one thing you can do is try to remember a time when you did feel the wish to help the world as much as you can. Like you might have thought, how wonderful if the world was peaceful, free of suffering, free of war, free of violence. Everyone could live with each other in peace and harmony. Or you may have felt, I would really like to help the world to bring about more peace and harmony. So if you ever had such a thought, such a feeling coming up in your mind, try to recall that and see if you can bring that thought or feeling back up into your mind now. And if you're not able to do that, it might be helpful just to say to yourself something like, I would like this meditation that we're doing right now to bring more peace and happiness, well being, good things to not just myself, not just to those of us who are sitting here tonight, but to more and more people, more and more beings throughout this city, this country, this world, this universe. So something like that. Just try to generate the wish that this meditation will be as beneficial as possible to as many people as possible. Okay, so now to start the body scan, put your awareness, your attention at the top of your head. And if you notice any tension there, see if you can let it go, let it melt and flow away. Then let your awareness move down into your forehead. Let your forehead relax. Let go of any worry lines, worry wrinkles you may have in your forehead. Let it be smooth and relaxed. And then feel your eyes and relax the muscles around your eyes and behind your eyes. So let your eyes be completely relaxed. And then relax the other muscles in your face. So around your cheeks, mouth. So we have many muscles in our face that we use when we smile or frown or make different expressions. So let all those muscles relax right now. Release any tension you may have in your face. So that your whole face, your eyes, and so on be completely relaxed. But if you want, you can have a little smile in your mouth. Some teachers say that's helpful to keep your mind more positive and relaxed. So you can do that if you wish. Smile a little bit during the meditation. Now move your awareness around to the right side of your head. And let the right side of your head relax. And then do the same with the back of your head. And then the left side of the head. And go inside of your head. See if you can feel any sensations inside of your head. And if you notice any tension or pain or stress, see if you can consciously let it go, let it relax, melt, flow away. So try to have the whole of your head, both the outside and the inside, as relaxed and free of tension as possible. And next, move your awareness down into your neck and throat. Relax the muscles in your neck. Relax any tension in your neck or throat. Then move down into the shoulders, the upper part of the back, shoulder blades and shoulder muscles. You notice tension in your shoulders. See if you can let it go. Imagine it melting, flowing away, flowing out of you, sinking into the earth. And let your awareness continue to move down through your back, relaxing the muscles in the middle part of the back. And then the lower part of the back. Go all the way down to your seat. Feel the contact of your seat, the bottom of your body with the chair or the cushion you're sitting on. If there's any tension, let it go, let it melt and sink down into the earth beneath. Try to have the whole of your back as relaxed and free of tension as possible. Next, shift your awareness to the front part of your body, starting with your chest. So feel your chest. If there's any tightness, any tension, so if you can let it go, let it melt, flow away. And also go inside your chest, where we have our lungs and heart. And let those relax as well. And let your awareness move down through the middle part of your body, your torso, and relax the area of the diaphragm and whatever organs there are in that area, like liver, stomach. And also do the same with the abdomen further down. We have the whole digestive system. That's another area where we sometimes have tension. If there's emotional problems like stress or worry or fear or anger, sometimes that area can become tight and tense. So see if you can relax and let go of any tension in that area. Let it melt, flow down and sink into the earth beneath us. And do the same with the pelvic area, the hips. If there's any tension in that area, let it go. Let it sink into the earth beneath us. And then let your awareness move down into your right leg and relax the upper part of the leg, the right thigh. And then the knee. And the lower part of the leg, the calf. And the ankle and foot all the way down to the toes. And try to have the whole of your right leg as relaxed and free of tension as possible. And then shift your awareness to the upper part of the left leg, the left thigh. Relax any tension in that area. Relax the left knee. And the lower part of the leg. And the ankle. And the foot and toes. And try to let the whole of your left leg and foot be as relaxed as possible. Now we just have our arms. So let's start with the right arm. Bring your awareness to the upper part of the right arm, just below the shoulder. Let go of any tension in that part of the arm. And then the elbow, the right elbow. And the lower part of the arm. And then the wrist, hand, and fingers. And then the left arm. Bring your awareness to the upper part of the left arm. Relax any tension in that area. And relax the elbow, the lower part of the arm, and the wrist, hand, and fingers. So try to let a feeling of relaxation, lightness fill your body completely. even down to the tiniest parts, the cells, the molecules, the atoms, the subatomic particles. So let your whole body be pervaded by this relaxed feeling. And try to maintain that during the meditation. But at the same time, we don't want to be so relaxed that we fall asleep. So we still want to stay awake and alert. We need to find a balance between being relaxed and being awake and alert. So now focus your mind, your awareness on your breathing. Just let your body breathe in a natural way. Let the breath flow in and flow out naturally, meaning don't try to control it or regulate it in any way. There's actually no need to do that because the body knows how to breathe on its own. So just step back, let go, and let your body breathe in a natural way. Sometimes the breath may be a little longer, deeper, sometimes shorter, shallower, and that's okay. The body knows how much air it needs to take in. So just let the body breathe, but with your mind, your awareness, pay attention to the breath coming in, going out. Do this in a light way, not in a tense, squeezing, pushing kind of way. Just lightly observe or be aware of the breath. And when we say being aware of the breath, what we're aware of is sensations associated with the breath. So you might notice sensations in your chest or in your abdomen or your nostrils. So it's okay to pay attention to whatever place you are able to notice the breath most easily, most naturally. But it's good to not move your attention around and just choose one place where you watch the breath, observe the breath. And just be aware of the full inhalation of the breath as it's coming in. Then there might be a little pause. And then the full exhalation of the breath as it's going out. And it's normal, natural that the mind doesn't stay focused on the breath for very long because the mind has the habit of jumping from one thing to another. So you will notice your mind going to other things like sounds or thoughts or memories, emotions, other sensations in your body. That's normal. Just be aware that those experiences are happening. You can't stop them. You can't prevent them from happening. But just let them happen. Let those other experiences happen. Notice them. Be aware of them. And then if your mind does get distracted by them, as soon as you notice that, as soon as your mind has gone away from the breath to something else, and you notice that, and just gently disengage from that other object. Just put that other object aside and bring your attention, your awareness back to the breath, back to the breathing. And do this with an attitude of kindness and patience and non-judgmentalness as much as you can. I mean, you might notice your mind getting impatient or self-critical. Just notice that. That's just a thought in the mind. Just something that pops up in the mind. You don't have to get caught up in it. You don't have to buy into it, believe in it. So you can just notice it and then let it go and come back to the breath. So just keep coming back to the breath every time the mind wanders away to something other than the breath. whatever happens in our experience, thought or feeling, emotion, memory, a sensation, a sound, and so on, all these things are momentary, impermanent, transitory, meaning that they occur, they rise, they last only a short moment of time, and then they pass or disappear, go out of existence. So it's helpful to understand that because that helps us to not be attached to anything nor get upset about anything. Instead, we can just sit and observe our mind, observe our experiences, let them come, let them go, like clouds in the sky. We don't have to do anything to push clouds out of the sky because they will go away by themselves. That's their nature. It's the same with all of our experiences in the mind. They come and they go. So if we just sit and watch and observe them, we can just watch them come and watch them go. So try to do this with an attitude of non-judgmentalness, an attitude of kindness, friendliness, patience, and just keep coming back to the breath whenever the mind goes away, wanders away. So it seems that many people, maybe most people, I don't know, when they do meditation, experience frustration because I think we naturally have the wish to feel calm and peaceful and happy and have just nice experiences. And we're hoping that when we sit down and do meditation, that's what will happen. We'll feel really nice and calm and peaceful, um, and maybe sometimes we do. Sometimes we do feel that way, but other times we may feel like we're going crazy, or we may notice things in our mind that we don't like very much and think, oh my God, what a horrible person I am. So I don't know if any of you ever have that experience, but sometimes people do. And then if that happens, if you look inside and then you see all this stuff that you don't like, and it's quite kind of unpleasant, disturbing, then your mind can start making up stories. Oh, I'm such a terrible person. I'm a horrible person. Wow, I didn't realize I was so bad, and things like that. And so then you can get all carried away and kind of self denigration, self criticalness, and frustration, and so forth. So if that ever happens to you, it's one thing to understand that it's normal. You're not the only one who has this experience. Many people have this experience. Maybe most people, even if they don't talk about it. Maybe they're trying to hide it, trying to pretend everything's okay, but actually it's not. But anyway, it's a common experience. So you're not the only one. Not the only one who has craziness inside. And there's no point in feeling bad or hopeless if you do find craziness inside, because our mind is changeable. There's the nature of our mind to change. It's not permanent, not fixed the way it is. Its nature is that it's changing all the time. That's just the way it is, just like most things in the world are changing all the time. And we can change our mind. That's the good thing. The good news is that we can work on our mind and change it. We can make it less crazy and more peaceful. We can make it less kind of negative and more positive. So this is definitely possible. Buddhism has been talking about this for 2,500 years. And recently, scientists and psychologists and philosophers and so forth have also been realizing this and working with this. And so it's also accepted in science. There's scientific proof for it that you can change your mind. We can change our minds. So if that's possible, then there's no point in getting upset and getting frustrated and feeling hopeless, despair. It is possible to change our mind, although it does take time, does take effort. We can't expect change to happen immediately, one moment, one day, 1 year even. But slowly over time, working on our mind, it can change. I can say that with confidence because I've seen it in myself. So I know it is possible. But we do need to be patient with it, patient with ourselves. And that's really what Buddhism is all about. Everything in Buddhist teachings, everything that the Buddha taught is really for that purpose of bringing about a change in our mind, a positive change, a positive transformation, making our mind more positive, having more positive, loving, compassionate, peaceful, wise states of mind, and having less of the negative ones, the disturbing ones, the crazy ones. So there's a lot of material in Buddhism on how to do that, how to change our mind. And so tonight, as I said, we're going to look at this topic of equanimity and how to meditate on it. So the meaning of equanimity, what it is a state of mind which is, we could say, balanced or even in the way that we look at other people, feel towards other people, and relate towards other people. So most of us, most of the time, do not have equanimity. I mean, I'm just speaking in a general way. It might be that some of you do have equanimity, but I'm just saying most people probably don't have it. And instead, we have this tendency to um, discriminate and be biased, have a biased, discriminating attitude towards other people. So the way it's explained in Buddhism, it said that we divide people into three groups. One is the group of so-called friends. So friends doesn't just mean like our friends, but it can also include family, people we care about, people we are close to. Okay, so there's that group of people, the so-called friends. And those are the people we like, we care about, we are close to, we want to keep them close to us. We treat them very well, very nicely, and we have a lot of warmth, good feelings, and so on. So that's one group of people, friends. And then there's another group of people, they use the term enemy in the traditional Buddhist text, but that sounds rather strong. Um, it basically just means anybody we don't like. So the people towards whom we have the opposite feelings to our friends. So it's people we dislike, people we might have hatred. There might be people we actually hate. You know, that's a pretty strong state of mind. But I think it can also include people we just feel annoyed, irritated. You know, we just feel I don't like them. I don't like that person. Maybe I hate them, but there's a feeling of dislike, which to me is a low level form of hatred, a low level form of aversion. So I think there's all different variations in that state of mind. Yeah, from just mild irritation to violent rage, where we may even want to kill somebody, destroy somebody. And then there's lots of different shades in between that. So anyway, there's that group of people, people we dislike. And towards those people, of course, we have these kind of not very nice feelings, irritation, aversion, repulsion, anger, hatred, and so forth, impatience. And so the way we feel towards those people, the way we act towards those people, if we happen to be in the same room or whatever, it's just the opposite to our friends. You know, we want to stay away from them. We don't want to be close to them. We want to be far away from them. And we don't feel like being nice to them. Instead, we feel like being nasty to them. And and so on. So I think you know that one. Right? We all have people like that. And inside of our heart, you know, the feeling we have in our heart is like tight. It's a tight feeling. It's not sort of soft and open and gentle and warm, but it's tense and tight. So that's another group of people, enemies. And this can include people we actually know, you know, people who are around us, part of our life, but it can also include strangers. For example, politicians, that's everybody's favorite. People in positions of power in your own country or in other countries. And we may never meet these people. We only see them on the news. We read news stories about them or watch news stories on TV about them and so on. And then we form opinions based on what we hear, what we see, what we hear. We develop opinions about those people. And it's very easy to have very negative opinions and just, oh, I hate that person. I can't stand that person. I wish that person would die. I wish somebody would kill them, whatever. And anyway, so those are the enemies, that group of people. And then there's a third group of people who the term used in traditional Buddhist texts is strangers. Pema Chodron uses another term, neutrals. These are people towards whom our feelings are neither liking nor disliking, neither attachment nor aversion, but just a sort of indifference, a sort of bland, uncaring indifference. Like we just don't really feel anything for them. So that's probably the biggest category. My feeling is, my guess, most people in the world fall into that category. The number of people who we regard as friends, loved ones, dear ones is probably quite small, relatively. And the number of people we hate is also relatively small, hopefully. But then, there's this huge mass of people we don't know at all. We don't know anything about them. And we just feel nothing for them. It's almost as if they don't even exist. So, a good way to check, to investigate, to notice this tendency that we have to have these three different feelings towards people, as if we're putting people into three different groups, as if we're in a crowd of people or a party. Okay, so there's all these people around, and maybe many of the people are strangers to us. We don't know them. Maybe we've never seen them before. So we're kind of looking around at these people and not really feeling very much. And then we notice somebody we know. We see a friend. We see a familiar face in this crowd, and our heart kind of leaps. Yeah, just like, oh. We feel really happy, really excited to see um, someone we know and someone we like, someone we care about, and probably, go straight towards that person and hug them, talk to them, greet them, and start talking. And so there's this feeling of attraction, this feeling of wanting to be with that person, wanting to be close to that person and spend time with that person. Okay, and then we might also, look around the room and then notice, oh, that one, that one we hate, that one we can't stand, that one who may have done something horrible to us or done something horrible to one of our friends, or just just we just don't like the way they are. Okay, so if we see that person in the crowd, then we have a very different feeling, right? We feel heart kind of closes up and tight, and maybe we even feel some fear and a feeling of wanting to be as far away from that person as possible. So we might even physically move away, go to another room, to another area, just to make sure there's as much distance between ourselves and that other person as possible. Yeah. So, so that does that make sense? What I'm saying? This is something we experience. This is something that happens in our experience. Maybe not every single day, but at least occasionally. We have these three different ways of feeling or reacting and behaving in relation to other people.
So where does empathy come in?
Empathy? Apathy. Apathy?
You know, some say that's worse than hate, but it's like totally non-caring. But
Mm. Well, that's probably what we feel towards the strangers.
mm,
So, yeah, again, if you're in a crowd of people, there's all these people around you, but maybe we're not always in a state of uncaring. We might have curiosity. We might be looking around at these people and wondering who they are, and maybe feeling, oh, I like that person. I like the way that person looks, and so on. So there might, or disliking. So we might have attraction or aversion towards strangers that we don't know, but there may be times when maybe, especially if we are preoccupied, if you're thinking about something, or you're trying to get somewhere, so you've got something else in your mind, something else going on with you, and then it's almost these people around you, it's almost as if they're not even there. It's almost as if they don't exist. Have you ever had that experience? Yeah. So I think that's this feeling of an uncaring indifference or apathy.
yeah,
Maybe that's another word for it. Yeah. So, I mean, those people, they've got stuff going on with them. Some of them are really, really happy, but we don't care. Or they're really miserable, but we don't care because we're just completely involved with ourself, caught up in ourself. So this is what Buddhism says. We have these three different ways of feeling, three different states of mind, three different attitudes that can arise in us towards people, um, other people, and they can change. Um, yeah, I'll talk about that later. But towards the same person, you might sometimes feel attraction and liking and very positive feelings. Other times, towards that same person, you may feel angry, hateful, and other times you might feel this apathy, this indifference. Just uncaring. So we can have these three different states of mind, three different feelings, three different attitudes, even towards the same person. Yeah, which is very interesting. Anyway, so this is the opposite of equanimity. Equanimity is the state of mind in which we feel equally towards others, not equally angry or hateful, but equally open and concerned, and it's like observing, seeing others as worthy or deserving of our attention and our care and our concern, as opposed to only liking some people and not liking others and not caring about others. It's just like a even-minded attitude towards others, seeing that everybody is important, everybody deserves my respect, everybody deserves my care. And this meditation, so we'll do a meditation on this after the break, but this meditation is said to be like the foundation for developing love and compassion and altruism, the bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment. Because the ideal thing is, if when we develop love and compassion, we do it in a very open way, in a very broad way, not in a limited way. So it wouldn't be right to say, oh, I love all sentient beings except that one and that one and that one. I have compassion for all living beings except for those guys. So this is the danger that can happen if we don't work on equanimity. If we don't, they say equanimity is a bit like leveling the ground before you build a building. If you're going to build a house or a building, you want to make sure that first the ground is flat and even. Otherwise, your building isn't going to work very well. So they say, in a similar way, before we build up universal love and compassion and altruism and bodhicitta, we need to at least work on. It's very hard to actually have equanimity, but at least to start working on it, to start working on, just having that awareness that everybody is deserving of our respect and our care, and we shouldn't hold anybody out. We shouldn't close our mind, our heart to anybody. Um, so that's the place, the purpose of this meditation in the context of the Buddhist path. So it's very, very, a very important meditation to do. But I think even if we feel that enlightenment, attaining enlightenment, becoming a Buddha is a very high goal and maybe too far away for us, too difficult for us, or whatever. But I think just to have a more peaceful life, a more happy and peaceful life, it's good to work on equanimity. Because if you don't have it, then it's like you're leaving yourself vulnerable to these very painful feelings of aversion and dislike and hatred. So if you could see how painful that is, how painful it is to have hatred and aversion towards certain people, and we can never have total control over who we meet and who's around us. You can try to keep away all the bad people, but That's very hard to do. So there's always this chance that you might encounter a bad person or see them on television or whatever. And then if you haven't worked on equanimity, then you know this very painful feeling of anger, aversion, hatred pops up in your mind, and then your mind just gets totally caught up in that. And that's really it's bad. It's bad for your heart. I mean, physically, they say anger and hatred is bad for us physically, not good for our health, but it's also not good for our mind. You can't really be happy and peaceful while there's hatred in the mind. So it's good to learn how to at least start to work on having a more balanced, equanimous attitude towards others. Just to have a happier life and yeah, just for your own sanity, your own peace of mind and health and your physical health. So we'll do a meditation on this after the break. So let's first have a break, 10 minutes, 15-minute break. So, um, I'm going to lead this meditation on equanimity. It's a sort of what we call an analytical meditation, meaning thinking, checking, investigating. Um, so just do the best you can to stay focused or concentrated on the meditation. And if you find your mind wandering away, thinking about something else that's not related to the meditation, then um, as when we do the breathing meditation, just let go of that other thought. Put it aside for now. You can always take it up again later if you want to, but just have this determination that you'll keep your mind focused on the meditation that we're doing and bring your mind back to it if it wanders away. So you just have to pay attention to what's happening in your mind and bring the mind back when it wanders to other thoughts or other sounds or whatever. So once again, make yourself comfortable in a good position for meditation, meaning trying to sit with a straight back, but at the same time not be tense or tight, but be as relaxed as possible. And just breathe in a natural way. Let your body breathe in and out in calm, gentle rhythm. You can have your eyes closed if you wish, or leave them open a little bit so there's some light coming in. That's a help to avoid sleepiness, because closing the eyes all the way, especially at night like this, can lead to sleepiness. Keeping the eyes open a little helps to prevent sleepiness. So I'm going to ask you to think of 3 people who are representative of the 3 groups of people that I mentioned earlier: friend, enemy, stranger. And then imagine or visualize those 3 people in front of you. So first think of a friend. And again, that could be a family member, a relative, or a friend, or even a child. That's just somebody towards whom you have really good feelings, positive feelings. You're happy when you see that person, happy to be with that person, happy to give your love to that person and spend time with them and so on. So there's probably many people that you have such feelings for, but just think of one, choose one person, and imagine that person in front of you a little bit to the left side. And then ask yourself why it is that you feel this way towards this person. What are your reasons for having such good feelings for this person? And as you explore your reasons for liking this person, see if you can notice the ego playing a role. For example, I like this person because they make me feel good, or they're really nice to me, or something like this, something related to yourself and what you get out of this relationship. Next, think of a person who's like an enemy. That means someone towards whom you have the opposite feelings to the friend. You feel dislike, aversion, even anger, hatred. You don't want to be with that person. You want to be as far away as possible. You don't give your love and warmth to this person. So think of someone like that and then imagine that person in front of you, but on the right side. And again, ask yourself why you feel this way. What are your reasons for disliking this person? And again, as you're looking at your reasons, see if you notice the ego involved. For example, maybe this person makes you feel bad, or they behave in ways that you disapprove of, you think are wrong or bad. So somehow related to your own sense of self or I or ego. Now think of a third person, this time a stranger. That is a person towards whom we neither feel positive feelings, love, nor negative feelings like aversion, but instead just neutral feelings. So you could imagine just somebody in a crowd that you don't know at all, total stranger, and just pick that person out of the crowd and put them in front of you. So imagine or visualize this person in front of you, in between the other two. And ask yourself why you feel this way, why you neither like nor dislike this person, but just have neutral or indifferent feelings. And now just ask yourself if you like this way of being, if you feel good about this way in which you have these three different feelings, three different attitudes towards people, some towards whom you have a lot of love and warmth and care and really good feelings, and others towards whom you have really negative feelings, and others towards whom you have no feelings. So is this a good way to be? Does it feel right? Does it feel good, satisfying? So one thing to consider is the really good feelings we have towards our friends. What if we could have those good feelings towards more people besides just our friends? What if we could have these wonderful feelings towards strangers? Even when we saw strangers, we could feel really joyful and happy, loving and warm. And even towards enemies, bad guys, bad people, we'd also have these really nice feelings of love and kindness and warmth. So that means we would have more of those positive feelings in our mind more of the time. So does that sound interesting? Does that sound like something you would like to do? So it is possible to work on our mind and make our mind more even, more balanced, more open towards everybody, not just a limited number of friends. So there's different ways we can do this. One way is to just think about impermanence. That means things change, things are not fixed and permanent. And that is true for relationships. So we tend to see our relationships as permanent and almost like they're carved in stone and they will be like this forever and ever and they will never change. But that's not necessarily the case. Relationships can change. They do change, sometimes just automatically. So let's contemplate that. Look again at your friend, the person you like, the person you have good feelings for, and try to imagine this person one day doing something that you don't like or that hurts you very much or that you feel is just completely unacceptable. Or maybe they change, they start becoming in a very different way than they are now, and it's really hard to continue your relationship with them. So just try to imagine something like that happening and see if that has any effect on the way you feel towards that person. And then look again at the enemy, the person you don't like, and imagine some situation where this person does something helpful or kind to you. Like, for example, maybe you're driving on the road in a car and you get a flat tire and you're stuck there without a spare tire and you don't know how to get out of this situation. And this person comes along in their car and stops and helps you to fix your car or picks you up and takes you to somewhere where you can get help. So they help you out in a situation where you're really in need of help. Imagine that happening and see if there's any change in your mind, the way you feel towards this person. And then look at the third person, the stranger in the middle. So this relationship could change too. It could go either way. And let's imagine this person also does something nice, something helpful for you. Let's say you're walking down the street or you're walking through a train station or an airport. You accidentally drop your wallet on the ground and you don't even know it. You don't realize it. And this person sees it there and picks it up and comes running after you and says, "Hey, this is your wallet. You dropped it." Imagine that happening and see what happens in your mind, if there's any change in your mind, the way you see this person. So within one lifetime, our present lifetime, our relationships with others can change. Our feelings towards others can change. And if we can see that, understand that, that can help us to have a more balanced view, a more balanced way of looking at others. But Buddhism says our relationships with others also change over lifetimes. If you're able to accept that we've had previous lives before this one, Buddhism says that we've actually been in every possible kind of relationship with every person that there is. So we've been friends with everybody. We've been very, very close. We've been married. We've been parent and child with every single person. We've also been enemies with everybody. We've hated each other, killed each other, fought against each other in wars. We've also had times when we've just been total strangers to each other. Buddhism says we've had every possible relationship with everyone already. We've been friends, enemies, and strangers, not just once, but many times. And if you can accept that, or at least think it might be true, thinking about that, getting familiar with that can also cool down our mind and not be so attached to or cling to the present relationships that we have with others as if they are permanent forever, for all of time. So, just for the last few moments of the meditation, whatever experience you were able to get during this meditation, hopefully you did get some kind of changed experience, altered experience, such as at least seeing that no, it's possible to change my relationships with others, or maybe you did get some kind of sense or feeling of equanimity. So, whatever experience you did get, just keep that in your mind, hold that in your mind, and focus on it, concentrate on it. Try to make your mind more and more familiar with that experience. So that gives you just some idea about how we can work. Sorry, how we can work on our mind and try to cool down the strong feelings of clinging to friends and loved ones and having aversion, hatred towards enemies and being uncaring about everybody else, and start working towards a more even or balanced view towards others. But doing this just one time, one meditation isn't going to be enough. So the idea is to do it again and again, and then make our minds really familiar with this way of looking at others, and slowly over time, our attitudes to others do start to become more even, more equanimous. And there's other, this was just a short meditation, but there's other things you can do. You can think about, for example, just the ways in which we are the same, the things we have in common with others. Like the lamas, Tibetan lamas always say, all living beings just want to be happy, and all living beings don't want to suffer. So contemplating that and really getting a feeling for that, how, yeah, we're all the same in that way. We're all just looking for happiness and trying to avoid suffering. So that also helps us to have a more even way of looking at others and feeling towards others, and less likely to reject certain people and hold them out of our heart. And there's lots of other ways we're similar as well. Like Buddhism says, we all have Buddha nature, meaning we all have the potential to transform ourselves completely, be free of all our suffering, achieve enlightenment, awakening. So everybody has that potential. We're all at different stages. Some might be closer to enlightenment, some may be farther away. But we're all kind of going in that direction, moving in that direction. Eventually, we'll reach that state. That's just another uh, idea that can help us to be more equanimous towards others. So, do you have any questions you want to ask about or comment on?
When I was doing the meditation, I had this kind of vision of the word I call interaction. Like if, and I was thinking like a two strings. If the two strings and they go wind around each other and then unwind, then you have like a connection. And before you have that interaction, another being is just like a stone or a rock. I mean, there you have no connection with them. But once you have an interaction, which I like, and I visualize this two ropes, like
Mm-hmm.
once you have an interaction, then it can be a good then you can judge it as a good or a positive or negative. But you have a connection, like
Mm.
you've made like a connection on both like the physical, mental, and emotional levels, or I'm just one of them. Before you have that kind of a connection, then I mean, then another person is just like maybe that pillow or anything. I don't
Mm.
have any
Yeah.
conscious relation with them,
Yeah.
so I don't.
But like the Dalai Lama says in that book we've been going through on Tuesday, The Art of Happiness, he says that what he does, and this is what many Buddhists do, is just to really contemplate this idea that we are all basically the same. We're all human beings. We have the same kind of body. We're born from a mother, and we're just this tiny little helpless baby drinking milk from her and crying, and
Yeah.
so our humanity and our wish for happiness and our wish to avoid suffering and so many things we have in common, we share. Yeah, we're all in this planet together. We're all, inhabitants of the same planet, experiencing many of the same problems. We all get upset when we hear about a war or a terrorist attack and so on. So just contemplating those things, focusing on those things, and just getting more and more familiar with them. Then, like he says, he feels like all the 7 million human beings are like his brothers and sisters. So he really makes an effort to do that,
Mm.
um, rather than just waiting for it to happen, just waiting for some kind of connection. But you can make that connection in your meditation. So I think that's what he talks about,
Does he go into the animals too and the insects?
Yeah.
Insects.
Well, I mean, Buddhism does. I don't know if he personally does. I heard a really touching story once. He was in a car in India. They were driving somewhere, and it was probably a really long journey, hours and hours and hours. And there was an insect flying around in the car, and he was really concerned about this insect. So he wanted to make sure it didn't get hurt. So he caught it in his hand, and he was holding it in his hand. And he said, "Please stop, please stop." It was a long time before they could actually stop the car. Maybe they were on a freeway or whatever. So he was holding this insect in his hand until they were able to stop, and then he got out and very carefully, put it somewhere. So that's, you know, he does care about other kinds of beings as well, not just humans.
The one other question I wanted to ask is how, especially after we die, how much do our belief systems affect us? Because I was thinking of the contrast of the Buddhist belief system compared to the Mormons. And the Mormons believe you start as a thought of God, you meet your spouse, you get married, and you stay married for eternity. That's what they believe. So when you get married, you get married forever. And I've had a Mormon friends, and they believe this. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the reality. And
So they after they go to heaven, then
yeah,
they're still married
yeah.
up there in heaven.
And
Uh-huh.
do you believe that that could happen for them? In science they believe in all these parallel universes. And all these
Well,
different
they do say that when we make a connection in one lifetime, then we continue meeting
the same people. Yeah,
people,
that
but
I
not
that
always in the same relationship.
no
Yeah.
no.
So sometimes you could be friends or married in one lifetime, in another lifetime you could be enemies. So this is what Buddhism says, that we're not always
Yeah,
in the
that I believe.
same
That I
relationship with
definitely believe.
with others, with everybody. Yeah. So we change
Yeah,
our
I definitely.
relationships.
Hey man,
Yeah.
How do they explain that you've been with someone in very different relationships? It's a bit difficult maybe to understand. Like, is it like parallel universes or something like that?
You mean how our relationships
Yeah,
could
because you said
change?
with every each person on
Yeah.
earth, we've been married or we've been enemies, and not once and many times. When you think about it logically,
I don't find it difficult to understand because if you look at your relationships with people, it's probably not 100% love. there's probably a lot of instances of anger and aversion. Maybe you bury them, you hide them, you pretend they're not there. But I think it's quite typical that there can be very negative feelings even towards people you normally love. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you do. But what I was asking was about like how do they explain it? I don't know about the like parallel universes, or do they explain it at all? I don't know.
Well, I think it's like Bob was saying, you just have this connection with another person. And you kind of get your emotions intermingled with each other. And so because of that, and also karma, of course, the main thing is karma. We create karma together when we interact. And it's the karma that pulls us back again and again into relationships with people. Um, I don't know. I heard this one story. A friend of mine told me. She read it in the newspaper of an English family that was on holiday in France, and it must have been not long after the Second World War. So it was a mother and a father and a little boy, and they were driving through the French countryside. And as they were going through one village, the little boy suddenly said, "Daddy, Daddy, that's the place where you shot me." And it turns out the father had been a soldier in the war, and he had been in that village, and he had killed a German soldier in that very place. So that kind of gives you goosebumps, doesn't it? But yeah, so there was a strong connection between those two people. It was a negative one. They were enemies, on opposite sides of a war. But that connection brought them together again in the next life in a very different kind of relationship.
But still, it sounds a bit difficult to understand. Like when you think about permutation, everyone with each other being together and enemies and many different relationships. Like with our knowledge of Earth and everything, then it wouldn't be possible if we think in that sense. But if we think about like parallel universes or whole universe, other lives, maybe we can
Oh, I
make
mean, yeah,
make
Buddhism
make
talks
sense.
about many worlds, many universes, not
Usually,
only
like
this planet, but there's many
otherwise, it's
other,
not
yeah, and also many
unexplainable.
lifetimes, many lifetimes. So over time and over a vast space, then there's, yeah, lots of different possibilities.
Yeah, I guess it's beginningless time, isn't it?
That's what Buddhism says. No beginning to time and no kind of limits to the universe. It's huge. It's vast. Anyway, so we need to stop here. It's okay. So let's just take a few moments to dedicate.
They just don't start. Oh yeah.
So we started off with a good motivation, wanting this evening, this session to be beneficial to ourselves and to others and to the world. And then we did do some meditation and had some discussion about how to have a more balanced state of mind, not so much having attachment to some and aversion to others, but a more open attitude towards more and more people. So this has been something really positive. What we did here tonight, we've created some positive energy, merit. So now we can dedicate this merit, this positive energy, that it will be shared by as many other people and beings as possible. It will help everyone have less anger and hatred and ego and self-centeredness and attachment, and more open-heartedness, open-mindedness, more love and compassion and wisdom. And in this way bring about more peace and harmony among all of us and help us all get closer to enlightenment. Okay. Thank you.